Hey, I'm just curious, first of all, was it even on your guys' radar at all that you guys could be celebrating a title here this weekend?
Um, Honestly, not particularly. Going into the weekend, I think we knew that there was a mathematical possibility that maybe it could happen by Sunday. But I don't really think that we came into the weekend wanting to do anything more than just play well and just come in and give ourselves a great shot going into the last weekend, to be honest with you.
You guys, since that Rutgers sweep at home, you guys won 9 of 10. Why was that the turning point for this team, do you think?
Well, that was a tough weekend, obviously, and we could have gone one of two ways after that weekend. We could have taken that and said, man, we put too much pressure on ourselves, and down the stretch we got to play all these tough teams and all these we got a tough pod coming up and then another one at the end of the year, and you start looking ahead and you can kind of hit the panic button, or you can regroup and remember that we were on the verge of winning the first two games of that series, and just keep playing, good baseball and just try to do it for 9 full innings. And again, I'll continue to point to our captains, our leaders. I had a conversation with them on that Monday right after that weekend and said, look, we're still a great team. Like, let's make sure that, nobody's, going to hit the panic button here. We're going to just keep working, and we're going to keep showing up, and we're going to keep playing good baseball. And again, we've been able to do that. We've been able to, stay focused and stay hungry and stay committed to team baseball.
Next one, Michael Bruns.
Well, you mentioned kind of those veteran guys. Roscom, Acker, they were part of that first Big Ten title team in 17. How, just beyond kind of riding the ship after Rutgers, how important have they been, even going back to fall ball, I guess, and kind of establishing the way this team plays?
Yeah, even the guys that aren't captains, just the upperclassmen in general, like you said, all three of the super seniors that we have back were Big Ten champs in 2017. So, I joined Nebraska baseball with a culture that was already established, and guys that had won before. And, we just continued to put our stamp on it. And, I have leaned very heavily on the veterans on this team. And, the guys that have won it before, they've told the younger guys, I think this past week, Acker spoke in front of the team and he said, we've had a chance to win it once before. It was an amazing feeling. I want you guys to all experience it and feel it as well. And those guys are just selfless guys. I mean, they didn't, back in March last year, they had no idea if their baseball careers were over altogether. And so they, to come back, make that decision to come back and be part of a championship team, it's meant the world to this group and this program for those guys to be a part of that.
One other one, it might not be, significant in the grand scheme of things, but it seemed like a lot of your guys on social media after today were kind of pointing back to the not being picked in the top 6 of the Big Ten. Did that kind of get a chip on guys' shoulders a little bit, or was that something that was maybe kind of in the background, I guess, all season for you guys?
Well, it was certainly something that we addressed before the year started. That, again, I don't pay attention much to that stuff, and we don't talk about it when we are ranked, we aren't ranked, but just said, hey, this is where people think we're at, and just reminding everybody on a daily basis how razor thin the line is between being in first place and being in 6th, 7th, or 8th place. It's gonna be separated by a few games here and there, and if we want to say that we're better than that, we've got to show up and do the things that are required to be champs, and they've done that. They've used some of that motivation where people maybe thought that we weren't going to do it, or we weren't capable of doing it. And I think we knew going back to the fall, this group had kind of a quiet confidence about themselves that we felt like we were going to be a good team. We were going to be a competitive team, and these guys love being around each other. And I think they may have leaned on that a little bit throughout the year. Not something that we necessarily addressed or talked about, during the season. We just talk about trying to be the toughest team in the country, quite honestly. If we feel like we do that, then we got a chance to play for a while.
Thanks.
Steve Sibble.
I will. I had a couple of questions. One just sprang up with that last comment you made. When you say it's your goal to be the toughest team in the country, what does that, like, what goes in to being a tough team in your mind?
Well, we always talk about it. You know, the tougher team wins just about every time on any given day. I mean, and that the most mentally tough team is going to be the most focused team, the team that's most dedicated to playing team baseball on any given day, being the most competitive team, the team that's most able to put aside any sort of distractions or outside variables and just go out and compete and just do it pitch to pitch and do it every day and show up and do those things. And, you know, it's just something that we really believe in, that the tougher team wins. And, you know, we can have these goals of saying we need X amount of wins or we need to do this, that, or the other. We can keep it pretty simple and say we want to be the toughest team in the country. And in order to do that, you've got to show up every day. And so feel like if we're the toughest team in the country, that means we get to play for a while.
I know all this is happening pretty quickly, Will, but you know, there's going to be inevitable comparisons to Van Horn because he got it going really quickly here, really in his second year. How do you feel about those comparisons? Does that bother you? I mean, they're inevitable.
Well, I mean, Dave is a winner. I mean, Dave is he's one of the best college baseball coaches of all time. So I have a long way to go to even be considered to be in the same category as him as a coach. And he inherited a program that was far further away, you know, when he got here than I did with Darren and the culture that he had established. So, you know, anybody that would like to make that comparison, I'd be flattered by it because I have all the respect in the world for Coach Van Horn. But, you know, we just got to, you know, we just got to continue to put together consistent games and have a consistent program. And, you know, that's really what my goal is. But yeah, that people can make the comparisons if they want. It doesn't bother me. You know, Coach he's one of my mentors, and I wouldn't be where I am today without him.
Thank you, Will, and congrats.
Thank you.
Clark Grell.
Coach, congratulations. Do you recall at what point in the game or how you found out that Maryland beat Michigan, and kind of what was your initial thought after Caleb threw that last strike?
We found out Curtis Ledbetter, our director of operations, came and kind of just tapped me on the shoulder. I believe it was in the fifth inning of our game and just said, "It's championship Sunday today." That was all he said. And so I kind of got where he was coming from. And then they put the score of that game, I think, up on the scoreboard at Indiana about the seventh inning. And I think that's when our players, it kind of sunk into them. And obviously we had to finish the game off. But I was proud of our guys. They did not. We talked on the bus before we got off the bus to go take BP this morning. I said, look, Ohio State needs to be our sole focus. We can't worry about what's going on in that other game. And nobody was asking, nobody was, you know, trying to figure out what was going on in the other game. We just showed up and played great. And I thought it was our best game of the year, quite honestly.
Cole Peterson.
Hey, Will, so much attention has been drawn to just the upperclassmen and all the leadership, but what do you have to say about the younger guys that have really stepped up this season, guys like Max and Bryce, and then obviously Caleb out of the bullpen today?
Yeah, those guys they played great. I mean, Max has been a very consistent player all year long. He's gotten better and better defensively at third base. He's put a lot of work in to do that. He's hit in the middle of our order from day one. And Bryce Matthews, is what he's done may be equally as impressive, just from the standpoint of him having to overcome some adversity throughout the year. You know, started up in the top of the order, hit a couple of skids, came back from them, in and out of the lineup at times. And now he's probably one of our hottest hitters right now, and moved him up to the 6 hole, you know, deliver with an RBI right away. So yeah, there's definitely been some guys there that have stepped up, young guys. And it's sign of a healthy program when you've got not only just a bunch of veteran guys that are playing well and playing at a high level, but you've got some younger guys that are chipping in as well too.
And then one more, if I could, just the bullpen today. Max giving you 4 shutout innings. How important was that just to get him back on track and the leadership he provides out of the bullpen? And then just overall today, a bullpen day, giving up 0 runs and blanking one of the top offenses in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Max was awesome. The slider had more slider downward shape today than curveball shape. When he's doing that, his sinker and his the slider really tunnel. They looked the same coming out of his hand. He had that going on today. I mean, they couldn't pick it up out of the hand, whether it was the sinker or the slider. He was very, very good. I think the first pitch he threw, he gave up a double, and then he got out of that inning with some punch outs and then just rolled after that. Cal Perry, we weren't necessarily expecting him to go 2 innings today, but the first inning, he was so sharp. We sent him back out, was able to keep his pitch count around 30. Martin came in and got his lefty, really sharp. Cam Wynn was really, really good. And it was good to see Feakin finish it off.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Evan Bland.
Well, I'm just curious too, when you look at winning a title this year in such a unique year without the non-conference games and the COVID protocols and everything, what do you think you'll look back on and be most proud about what this team overcame to get this very unique regular season title?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that they've had to sacrifice to stay on the field, period. From social life to, again, you just gotta, in a year like this, you just can't really do much of anything. Or you're going to jeopardize having a chance to compete at all. So it started in the fall. We were able to have a fairly normal fall, which I felt was enormous. I don't know that there were too many teams in our league that were able to have the amount of practices that we had and just kind of go through things a bit normally. Not that we didn't have a few guys here and there that got sick, but by and large, we were able to be together a lot and establish that team chemistry. And same thing coming back from Christmas break and guys just, being ready to go and healthy. And, I just, the work ethic, I think that's just what stands out to me is just the guys just showing up every single day, not asking questions and just being ready to go. But just the overall sacrifices that it takes to do that. I mean, you have to be very, very focused and very, very determined to do that.
Thanks, Will. Congrats.
Appreciate it.
All right. Looks like we're our last one. And Steve Sipple, if anyone else has a question, just toss in the chat queue. Steve Sipple.
Thank you, Jeremy. Again, I know things are moving quickly here, but would you say, Will, that, coaches always talk about the process of building programs, rebuilding programs. Is that process ahead of schedule? Is that what this signifies to you or not?
Well, like I said, I mean, this wasn't a rebuild. It wasn't, we have a very, a lot of top end talent, guys that, that were on the roster when we got here. We just felt like we were able to surround them with more good players. I think just the overall depth. I feel like we were able to do that. We were able to build some real depth, which I think is what you need in order to have a chance to make a run like we did, where you're not playing a 24 game conference schedule. You're playing a grind of 44 conference games. You better be deep. And so I felt like we're able to do that. We were able to add to the top end talent that we do have, and bring some guys in that have really made a difference on the team. But it wasn't a rebuild. I said that when I got the job. It was just our job to continue that momentum that Darren and his staff had created, and just kind of put our stamp on it. Just put the style of play that we were going to establish, and just continue to build that every year through recruiting.
Great job, Will. Thank you.
You bet.
One more, Michael Bruns.
Will, you guys kind of, you have another week left of the regular season here. I mean, what's kind of the challenge, I guess, as a coaching staff to kind of get everybody back together after this one and play 3 more at home, I guess? Just
show up. Just keep showing up. I mean, that's been our mantra all year. Just keep showing up. When we get back, we'll have a day off on Tuesday because tomorrow's actually going to be a travel day for us coming back home. And we'll prepare Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll play like we got something on the line, which we do. We're going to hopefully have some great crowds this weekend, and we're going to do our best to put our best foot forward and continue to play well. So I think I'm not going to have any trouble motivating this group of guys to just show up and be ready to prepare on Wednesday to do what's necessary to play well this weekend.
Thanks. Congrats again.